What's up, everybody?
Yeah, good evening, and we're back.
Yep, we back. Yeah, it's y'all didn't know we had gone anywhere, but I guess it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, but tomorrow morning will be a full 2 weeks since we've sat right here and recorded, which we mentioned on that one that we were recording early because of my travel schedule and whatnot. But yeah, it feels like it's been a while since I've sat here.
It does. It's a lot has happened. A lot has happened over this past week.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff has happened. Yeah.
That's what if some listeners feel like, man, those buttholes, they didn't even mention like what we've gone through here at the hurricane. It's because when we recorded last, it had not happened.
Yeah, it was like just barely starting.
Yeah.
And I guess it was all last weekend and Friday and into the weekend when all the flooding occurred to our neighbors east of us. But
yeah, definitely been praying for y'all. I know our church has sent a couple of loads that way, and we got a few firefighters that go to our church that are there. They've been there. Like, I know one guy, he's been there pretty much from the start. He got to come home for like 2 days, and he went right back.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I don't know. It's crazy. We'll go more into that hopefully next week if things work out. We might have some pretty crazy stuff to talk about, it sounds like.
Yeah, hoping to have a guest episode in the works for next week. But
yeah, it's Joe Biden. He's coming on. He's going to talk about what happened.
Yeah.
And all of his hard efforts that he's been putting in to help all these people.
Listen here, Jack.
Yeah, you know, he's been doing a lot. He's really been helping out a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to hear about it next week. That's your teaser.
There you go.
If you don't pick up, that chair ain't making it very long tonight.
Oh man, you're right. You saw it sinking before I even felt it.
Yep,
down I go.
Yep, you got to try it. I guess before we get in too deep, we need to give a shout out to AgZaga. Go to agzaga.com.
Yeah, they are your online ag retailer. They're my online ag retailer. All kinds of good stuff. Something I hadn't even really. I mean, I should have known they would have had it. I needed some more ear tags. Got online. Of course, they've got them. Yeah, check them out. Anything you need, farming, ranching, supplies, gear, apparel, and 10% off no matter what you put in that shopping cart when you use that discount code.
That's right. Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. While you're also doing that, you need to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and leave us a rating and a review, guys. We said if we got to 600 total ratings and reviews by October 31st, by Halloween, then we would eat a ghost pepper on air. And we're not there yet. We're still like 100 or 90 something away, I think.
How far were we when we started?
Oh,
seemed like we were like 200 away.
Yeah, we've gained a good bit. Spotify mostly.
Wow, so we're in danger of having.
We are, and I've had a couple of people write in, and they're like,
"It's 3 weeks from tonight as we sit here recording."
Yep. One or two dudes wrote in now. They're like, "I can't wait to watch you guys eat a ghost pepper."
Well, maybe not a whole ghost pepper.
But yeah, we got to eat one apiece, one whole ghost pepper. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't trying to vomit.
We better do that at the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, but we will eat some of a ghost pepper. I got them in the refrigerator. I got a bag. I got like 30 ghost peppers in there.
You make a big batch of chili with them?
I want to make some salsa.
Yeah.
But like just kind of
you make a batch of chili and then you just won't even be able to eat it.
No, and that's the thing. Like it's going to be I'm going to experiment adding a little at a time because I have actually, since I've started growing peppers, I always have liked a little heat. Never liked a lot of heat. But now I've started to like acquire an interest in a lot of heat. And so like we'll take the kids to like Buffalo Wild Wings. And I would get traditional wings. I'm a bone-in kind of guy on my wings.
Dude, there is no such thing as a boneless wing.
That's right.
That's
a chicken tender.
Yes, it's a nugget with sauce on it.
It is. So I've been getting wings, and each time I've been getting like, you can get 10 wings and you can do like half spicy garlic, half medium, whatever.
Well, here's my other beef with them is when they say it's a wing, they're giving you part of a wing.
Oh, you're a whole wing guy?
Well, I mean, if you're going to call it a wing, and if I want 10 wings, I better get the whole damn wing.
See, I don't mind I don't know that
I just feel like I'm getting ripped off. Like you order 10 wings and it's like $18, and then you're like, no, that's 5 wings.
Did you ever eat at Crumpy's in Covington?
No, I don't think
They
I
were
have.
good. They had the whole wing, but they're not there anymore, I don't think. But I've been increasing. I'm one step below their highest, which is like Blazing or Suicide or something. Wild, I think, was what their one I ate last time was. And it was actually, man, it was good. It was really good. So
I enjoy spicy food more. The older I get, the more I'm.
As our lives,
the more I can eat it and not I actually want.
Because we're getting closer to death. So you're not as alive anymore. You need to feel some exhilaration.
Yeah, I need something like that to make me feel alive.
Feel alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's where I guess I'm headed in that direction. Because I'm eating hotter and stuff all the time.
Yeah. So, which of course we got a little rain out of Helene, not near as much as we got out of Francine. Of course, when I left town that Saturday morning, it was raining when we left town. When did it finally quit raining?
Man, I don't even remember now, to be honest.
It's been almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I don't.
But y'all have had good dry running ever since.
Since
the Helene rain left, we've had dry weather.
Yeah, we actually got less rain than we were thinking. It quit earlier. If I remember right, it quit
I
on
had about 3.5 inches.
I think Sunday was the last day that it rained. 2 weeks ago or whatever. When I think it shut off on that Sunday.
Week and a half, yeah.
Yeah, but I started back Wednesday, and shoot, man, we've been nonstop. I've moved. I'm out in Shelby County now. I'm done with Tipton County, and I got 480 acres to go. I'm nearing the end. I don't know that that's a good thing.
So of course, we talked about you shouldn't be making plans about when you're going to get done, but being done by Halloween. I mean, again, Halloween's 3 weeks from today as we sit here.
So I'll tell you a funny.
That's a real attainable goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's no rain in the forecast right now either.
No. Yeah. For the 15-day forecast, I don't think there's a single day of rain.
Yeah, which is good because I got hay on the ground. I need to get a lot more hay on the ground.
I know it's good and bad because I'm about to have a bunch of cover crop flown on, and I could sure use a little moisture to put that in the ground. But so a funny story on the breakdown or jinxing yourself. I called a guy that they work a good bit of ground. Called him 2 days ago, and I was up in Covington cutting. I called him. I said, "Hey man," I said, "we're on par to be done before Halloween." I said my goal was to finish. So this year I wanted to finish before Halloween, and I said we're gonna be done. I said if you need some custom work, I'm probably gonna need to do some. And he said, "All right." He said, "Well, we got a guy that he usually does a good bit of it, but we might need some trucking, this and that." He goes, "Man, you done messed up." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because you just said that you're going to be done by Halloween." He said, "You have jinxed yourself."
Oh, yeah.
I said, I know. And I'll be damned. I got out there. I cut about 8 acres. This was literally that day. I cut 8 acres, and then I broke a belt on the combine that was I think it was called the shoe drive, but it was essentially ran the cleaning fan and all this stuff. This belt, together, the belt was 8 or 9 feet long, and it ran around 1, 2, 3, 4. It ran around 6 different pulleys.
How wide a belt is it?
It ain't a wide belt. It's about that big, about an inch or so.
You know where I'm going? Was it? You have to go to John Deere to get it?
I did. I went to Ripley, and then they said, "Dang man, we're out of it." So I had to go to Brownsville, and I got it. And I had to take off 2 belts to put this belt on. So I will say it actually turned out to not be as bad as I was anticipating, the repair. Because luckily I called the tech that I always deal with, and I was like, "Man, this darn thing is broke." And he kind of told me, he's like, "Man, just do this and this, and you'll get her back on there." I did, and knock on wood, she's running good right now. But
just what'd that belt cost from John Deere?
Actually, that's about $250.
That was about what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
I was afraid it was going to be one of those belts that was super
No,
light.
But I did notice another huge, one of the real wide belts. It's almost got 3 strands of belt on it. It looks really crappy. And I was like, man, I ought to buy that belt.
That's about an $800 belt.
Probably. But I did that on my 9770. I'll never forget. I broke a belt one time. And when I was going to get it, I was looking at other belts, and there was a couple others that looked bad. And I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and get them because they're going to break. So I bought the other sets of belts too. Hell, they never broke. They just never broke. Yeah. So I bet you whoever bought the Combat, I bet it still ain't broke. And so I don't.
Did you give them the belts or did you take them back?
No, I ought to. Honestly, I think they're in the shed out here. Yeah. I just forgot about them. But if I bought the belt, it'll never break. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes. Well, yesterday when I was going to cut some hay, I effed up.
When I was talking to you, I think you told me you had broke down or something.
Dude, I thought it was a catastrophe, and it could have been.
Uh-oh.
And it was all my stupidity or just being in a hurry and shit. I was like, I'm a real farmer now. I lost money on my heifers, and I'm just tearing shit up and breaking.
What were you running?
I was going to mow. I had my disc mower on, and all in all, it wasn't that bad. It ended up cost me about 2 hours, which in the grand scheme of things, and it didn't. I mean, I totally got things rigged up to go, but hell, I ended up cutting.
So hay. What'd you do? We got to hear what you did.
So on disc mower, and I know you know, mine's on a 3-point. My lift arms. I hooked it up on one of the lift arms where you put the lift arm on the pin on the mower. I never dropped the linch pin in.
Oh crap! Did it come out of there?
Oh, I was going up the driveway. I didn't make it 500 foot. And I was like, thank God this happened on my driveway.
It couldn't, at least it happened there. Yeah.
And so then I had my top link, and the other one was attached. But when that one popped off, the mower like dropped, like swung around. It did damage my fender on the tractor just a little. Bent the top link all to hell.
Okay.
Broke the pin that's like welded on to the mower on the side that was attached.
So it don't have the like screw in with that you can screw the pins in or out?
No, they're welded on, and it snapped it off on that side.
Nice.
And I was like, well, shit, I'm done. Like this. And the funny thing was, I'd been at Kubota that morning because we got my father-in-law side by side, and it needed some work.
Yeah.
And I was talking to them about a mower. I was like, I didn't know I was going to need one this quick. But then as I got to looking, I was like, all right, I think I can make this work. That mower, and people are probably going to cringe when they hear this or when they see the YouTube video. It's set up to where on the inside it's got category 1 pins.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had some bushings, and so I was able to narrow in my lift arms, and I'm running it on those. And I mean, it's made where you can do that, which I'm like, on a tractor with category 1 lift arms, I don't even know if it would be big enough
to lift that. Yeah.
But I was like, this might be a bad idea. But
you got it running.
Ran, and it was a little more of a bitch to get it hooked up. But,
yeah.
And I got I had to go like 4 different places to get a top link, and I'm running an aftermarket top link, but that's, complain about John Deere prices. So I got a hold of my Kubota man today. I was like, yeah, I need a top link, specifically for that tractor. I want to put the right one back on it. Oh yeah, it's like $450 just for that top link.
Oh, Kubota's going to get there. Just give them a little time.
Well, that's what, when I changed the hydraulic fluid in my tractor, like, I'm going to go ahead and put the Kubota stuff in there. Stuff's like $110 for a 5-gallon bucket.
It's saying, I'm going to tell you what's going to do Kubota in on good prices is they're stepping into the row crop arena.
Oh yeah.
They're pushing the bigger horsepower tractors. I think they're working on like a 200 and something horsepower tractor. And as they get in more into that, they're going to be just like Case, and they're going to be just like John Deere.
And everything's going to be outrageously expensive.
Yep. It'll get there.
But I don't know. Now I'm like, I think I could, because here's the thing. I don't have that much hay left to get cut this year. I don't know how many acres, because some of it may not end up being worth cutting. I'm like, man, I might could limp this thing on through, because I've already applied for my ag enhancement money.
Yeah.
Which,
can you get a new
hay
mower?
Equipment, yeah, I can get a credit on a new mower, which I could buy it now, but I'm like, part of me say, why don't I just go ahead and buy it? Like, what's the difference in going ahead and starting to pay for it now versus waiting until April? But I'm like, man, if I could hold off and limp this thing through, another 50 acres or so, hey, it'd be nice. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like a real farmer. I'm like, yeah, I'm tearing shit up.
Well,
losing money on cattle. And
yeah, you're earning your stripes.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that, there's something about, I mean, I hate a breakdown, but like when I ran, me and the guy that helped me, we had gone to try to get the belt. We had to go to the other store. So we burned several hours because we had to drive to Ripley, then to Brownsville, and then back. We got on the way back. I was like, man, I need some morale booster. So I actually stopped at an ice cream shop and got like 2 scoops of ice cream, and then went and I got to the field and working on it. The guy that was helping me, he's an older guy, and he was like, man, I can't get in there and help you out. I said, no, that's fine. I said, you can head on to the house. So, man, I just started taking stuff off. I was listening. Hell, it's October, so I'm in like the Halloween mood. I've been listening to Salem's Lot again, one of my favorite books, and I was listening to it, working, taking shit off. And but after I got it all put back on, did everything, I was like, man, there's something satisfying about doing your own mechanic work. Yeah. Like when you do repair something, because then I got up in the combine, fired her up, and everything was good to go. I was like, man, you just feel good. You're like, hey, shit, yeah, I can do this, man. So that's kind of makes you feel like a real farmer.
Yeah.
I had to, in the day before that, on my header, I had to weld a piece up, and then I was welding another piece. So like I've done like 3 welding things on it in the last several days, and so yeah, man, I'm with you.
Yeah. If
I was cutting good beans, I'd feel like even better farmer.
Yeah, I guess that's where we need to get into that a little bit, I guess.
Oh man, I'll tell you. It is, I think when we last recorded.
Yeah, your yields were good.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Those were the early beans. The yields were really good. I finished the first 2 farms that I planted, or 3 farms that I planted. They all did good, like good for them. Because now one of them, it did good for just about any farm because it yielded really well. But it's a pretty good farm. But the other 2, they yielded good for them. So I was like, all right, yeah, we're moving along. Well, I got into the next farm that I was anticipating also being good. And it averaged like 42, which is significantly lower than I was anticipating. Like
worst that farm has done.
That's the worst it's ever done. Yeah, like that farm in a bad year averages like 52. It's averaged 60 there before. So I was like, okay, well, that's not good. And jump to the next farm, it averaged like 40. Jump to the next farm, which was also one that I anticipated to do well because it always yields very well. And it averaged about 42. And I'm like, God dang. And then I moved to a pretty big...
Which what do you figure your break even is for this year with prices?
Yield-wise, yeah. A hell of a lot more than 42.
So losing money on those farms.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot more than that. Significantly more than that. So then I get to this other farm, which is never a high yielder. So I'm like, oh, God. And it averaged 32. And awful beans. And it's crazy. Like I talked to an agronomist, and then I've talked to a sales rep. And I was like, man, the beans are just the big field that I just came from. If you pulled up to it when I had like cut off the edges, because around the edges is usually pretty crappy, but after I'd cut off the edges, if you had pulled up to it, you'd be like, these beans look pretty good. Like they were big, they were tall beans, man. It was big beans. Derek was on the grain bug, and he's like, man, these beans look like they ought to be cutting good. And they weren't, man. They just, you would go up in the pod, there was pods, and you could get them and they'd be empty. Like it was like right when the bean was forming, I believe, was probably in the peak of August when we didn't get a rain for literally a month.
Yeah.
And so it just didn't make a bean. And so I was down in the dumps because I'm like, shoot, I've had a bad year last year. I don't want to have another one this year. And I did talking to my rep. He said he's heard a lot of guys cutting beans in the 30s and 40s. He said, I've talked to a bunch of guys doing that. I did just move to another farm, which is also one of my better farms. And right now it's averaging about 43. And the beans are humongous. Like, I'm having to run slow with the combine because the beans are so huge, and it's still cutting in the mid 40s.
There's just no grain in there.
No. So I don't know. The only hope is that the late planted ones caught the rains from the hurricane or whatever, and that's going to help. So I guess we'll know pretty soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say a couple things. I've had some damage that was like 20%. I thought that was pretty bad. That's not that bad from what I've heard. I've heard of a couple guys that had damage in the 40% range, which is they're tearing you to pieces.
Which for folks that aren't grain farmers, that's just the grain itself is damaged.
Yes, like
poor quality.
This is what happened on the first farm that I went to that wasn't good. The day before I started cutting, I went out there just to check and see if they were dry. Man, I walked out in the beans, and they looked great from the road. And I would pop a pod open, and they all were black, like they had mildew on them, the soybeans.
Yeah, it's because it sat there and got just so soaking wet for days on end. Yeah.
Yep, they were ready. They got soaking wet, and then it got warm. And so then they mildewed in the pod. And I was worried about that farm. I was like excited to cut it until I went and checked it. Then when I checked it, I said, I told Dad, I said, them beans ain't gonna be any good. I said, I went and checked them, and I said, every one of them was mildewy. They were crappy looking. He said, well, we just did the same thing, and they looked the same way. So yeah, 20% something damage. I think they're docking me on that some, but yeah, I've heard some guys in the 40s. I heard of one dude that had some in the 80s. He's had to pay the granary. So it's if you find yourself in that event, I found this out because I've been talking to my insurance man. If you find yourself taking a load of granary to the granary, or taking a load of grain to the granary, and they're like, man, it's 80% damage, then try to just talk to them, get them to reject the load in writing. If you have a nearby elevator, take the load there, and if it also checks 80% damage or whatever, get them to reject the load in writing, and then you can go dump it and destroy it, and claim it all a total loss on insurance. If you need to verify that, don't just take my word for it. Call your insurance agent, talk to them. But I know my insurance company that I deal with, that was what the adjuster told me. He was like, man, if you run into that, see if you can't just get them to reject the load. Because he was like, he said, that is a total loss. If you're 80% damage, that is pretty much a total loss.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's, it doesn't help my pocketbook to know that I'm not the only guy cutting poor beans, but it does help a little of my sanity.
Yeah.
If I was the only guy cutting 30, 40 bushel beans, everybody else is cutting 60 and 70 bushel beans, and I'd be like, what the hell have I done wrong here?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. Misery loves company.
It absolutely does. It does indeed. So, yeah, I don't know. And I have seen where it's across the board, across the country. I've seen a lot of bad reports coming out on the ag world. I think Illinois and Iowa, I think they're probably they're sitting the prettiest, it seems like, as far as yields go. I think they're doing really well.
Yeah, which they tend to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they can have bad years, by their standards, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm going to keep on trucking. That's what, I always, I try to get done as early as I can, but then at the same time you get done, and then that's the end of my funds coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, this is how short I came up or didn't, so I don't know. Let's keep on trucking. That's all I can do. Got a few stories here I wanted to share. All right, this first one, got my notes here. I'm trying to be a little more professional now. Have me some notes for you guys. So somebody has an unexpected ally against the big four meat packers. Did you hear who it is?
I know where you're going with this. Corbett hit on this earlier this week. He mentioned it. Mickey
D's.
Yep.
Yeah, they are taking it after I've got
filed suit against the big four meat packers.
They did, accusing Tyson Foods, JBS, Cargill,
and National Beef.
Yeah, of colluding to inflate beef prices by reducing slaughter-ready cattle supplies.
Yeah, that's what, and he kind of framed saying is like, we got kind of a unexpected ally.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, his point was it like McDonald's. I mean, that's a big damn deal.
Oh, it is. If anybody can rattle the cages, it'd be McDonald's.
And I think one thing he said, because he didn't go like real deep into it, but said they've requested a jury trial.
Yeah,
like they want to go after
in
them.
New York courts, filed in New York courts.
It's like they think they've got a case. Like they don't want them to just settle. Like
this could be pretty interesting. Yeah, their allegations. McDonald's claims the beef suppliers used plant closures and reduced slaughter volumes to artificially inflate prices, violating the federal antitrust laws, the Sherman Act.
Yeah, which Corbett, I mean, he's been preaching on that for years. Like if they think, they can artificially reduce the supply of their product to increase the price. And I mean, there's countless examples of it, but they probably, I would think they'd probably have a case.
Oh yeah, well, and it's been funny, like some of the people's reaction on social media here. One person said that McDonald's is now experiencing what others in the cattle business have long criticized, the dominance of the big four meat processors. And like I said, man, I mean, we've beat our chest about it. Corbett has. There's a lot of guys. I mean, Corbett, he's got a large platform, but it's still considering it. And so that's why, like, when I saw McDonald's, I'm just like, man, again, like I'm pretty sure McDonald's, they own like a crazy amount of land. Cause they own land in like they own a significant amount of ground in every state, if I understand correctly. Cause there's a McDonald's almost in damn near every town.
Right.
So this is a huge business.
Like, do they own ground like aside from restaurant property?
I don't think so. Think so.
Okay,
They're like strategically trying to they want to own land just about in every town.
Well, that's what I've heard people, economists put this way. McDonald's is really in the real estate business.
Mm-hmm.
Like more so than they are in the food service. Yeah, but they just want to be on the popular street corners. Yeah, locations, everything.
Yeah. Well, it was funny just kind of looking through this article. It said McDonald's lawsuit aligns with complaints from independent cattle producers and groups like RCAF. RCAF has made it into some pretty big headlines with this. And I think's cool because RCAF, they don't take no shit. They're sometimes, like we said, to their own detriment at times.
Well, and like I'm wearing our shirt right here, the Come Tag It shirt. They've teamed up with U.S. Cattlemen's, which is good to see some of the groups getting together. And like some political rallies here recently fighting against the mandatory EID. So yeah, they made a lot of good news here lately.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see when it plays out, because there is some people that they said McDonald's has benefited from the very market dynamics that it is now challenging. So it says raising questions about its true motives.
Yeah, the whole saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of guy like, I'd rather, stop and get a burger at a mom and pop shop than I would McDonald's. But
I can't tell you the last time I've eaten at McDonald's.
Well, because we were driving across the country and we hammered down, trying to think. Yeah, we stopped at a couple different, because some of those towns you stop in and like, man, there ain't nothing here. We'll hit the McDonald's.
Yeah, yeah.
We may have eaten breakfast there a couple of times. And then,
did you get a quarter pounder?
Man, because I'm trying to watch my carbs, I'd get a double quarter pounder.
Just eat the burger?
Eat the burger, no bun, and yep, no fries, and just hammer on.
I will tell you, the last time I got a quarter pounder, or maybe even a double quarter pounder, it's probably been a year ago. It was actually really good.
Yeah, I used to, like when I was in college,
get the two burger thing, the double burger.
Well, we would so in fraternity house, we had a cook, and so but. I guess so the cook wouldn't be there for like extended hours. We would have supper at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell, that's
I'd have to eat 2 dinners.
Well, say it was like Lupper.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like she would cook us lunch and at noon and then supper at 5. And so I would almost always about 10 o'clock at night, I'd go to McDonald's, get a double quarter pounder meal.
Yeah.
And I'd eat that every night. Like those were my 3 meals. I'd eat lunch or really early dinner, and then I'd eat 4th meal or whatever you call it. Like that time of night. It was just, it was cheap, and hell, I'll admit, a double quarter pounder of cheese, and of course I can't eat the fries no more, but
dude,
those fries, oh yeah.
It's crazy for me now to think back at the way I used to eat. I mean, I still can put away some food, but you got me thinking back whenever I was in high school, because there's a McDonald's, for people that aren't aware, like literally right here in our town, and we would go over there to McDonald's sometimes, and I would get 4 of the single burger, the little cheap burger, just the cheeseburger.
Well, I remember when they had the 29 cent, maybe in the hamburger, there for a while.
Well, I'd get 4 of those and a fillet of fish. I'd eat the fillet of fish sandwich too.
I've eaten plenty of fillet of fish.
So
you can get the double fillet of fish.
Yeah. But it was thinking back now, it's like I was eating 5 buns. That's like damn near a loaf of bread.
You weren't taking off all the patties and putting them on one.
No, I was eating all of them. I'm sure I would get fries too, and a sweet tea. I'm almost certain. I used to pound that, and so I mean, I have
probably like 2,000 calories.
Yes,
in one sitting.
Yes, I was 17, 18 years old, not a care in the world. I could still do it, I think, right now. But
I remember because I always liked the thin crust pizzas.
Yeah, eat a whole large by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like one of those, like hell.
I can do that right now.
I probably could, but I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, because they were talking about the power dynamic in here, about how you have big food versus big ag.
Yeah.
And they were talking about McDonald's is claiming that it's been forced to buy beef at inflated prices. And it says here, no response yet. The major beef suppliers, including Tyson, JBS, Cargill, and National Beef, have not publicly responded to the lawsuit. But I mean, they're going to have to. They don't have a choice at this point, because it's moving forward. But it's interesting to see, because it apparently this conspiracy and all this, it's actually been going on since 2015. So
yeah, can't remember when the Holcomb, Kansas fire was, but that's kind of the first time the light went on for a lot of people. It's like, whoa, and how that packing plant, which that didn't, it was a lot of dynamics there. Prices for live cattle just plummeted, because there's like, oh yeah, we've lost all this slaughter capacity. We don't, there's no longer demand for cattle.
Yep.
And in reality was, within like 2 days, they just sped up production at some of these other plants, and our, daily kill numbers were the same, even one plant completely shut down. Oh yeah, they'll slow down a plant, like, just say, all right, we got to do some maintenance on this plant. We're going to shut it down for a few days.
Yeah.
Or they'll just slow down the speed at which they're killing them. And they're like, oh yeah, we're operating at capacity. We're like, no, you aren't. And yeah. And then there's the whole thing of, are they colluding with one another? And you're not ever, I don't know how you prove that. Short of like finding something where they've like had like a written agreement, but they're smarter than that.
No, yeah.
More of a wink and a nod, like, yeah.
These are, McDonald's or any of these meat packers, and we've talked about before, like some of these meat packers, they're legit, like, they're like the mafia. And so, companies like this, if somebody starts to really, like, if they have an inside guy that starts to kind of leak stuff out, they're going to die. Like, they'll be dead.
Oh yeah, well, there's too much at stake for those companies. Like,
they will be dead. They will be suicided. So if you work for like Mickey D's and you're an inside thing, or you work at one of the big meat packers and you're leaking stuff, just let your loved ones know that you're not thinking about committing suicide anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I'm excited to see how it plays out. There's no telling how long it'll take to play out. I feel like this won't be a quick process.
Right. Don't tune in next week expecting us
Yeah.
to have a conclusion to that story.
Big companies like that are great at dragging stuff out. Just like with when people sue Bayer or sue Monsanto in the past and they want to do it, like Monsanto and Bayer, they will like drag the things out forever and ever and ever. And that's just how the legal system goes a lot of times these days.
Well, and like, this is a little different subject, but I was listening to Vance Crowe again, which he's talked about this many times. He's like, the best thing to ever happen to like Monsanto and Big Ag and all, like the GMO fight, was all these activists screaming and raising hell about GMOs, because Monsanto was happy to say, you know what? They're right. We need so much more regulation and testing on these products, because all that did was, it would mess up Monsanto to an extent, and they'd have to spend 3 more years of studies and research before they could bring a product to market. And that might cost them $10 million a year.
Yeah.
But what does that do to the next little startup company that's trying to take on Monsanto and be another competitor in the market?
Makes it that much harder for them.
Yeah, not even that much harder, like impossible. Like, holy crap, you're going to make us go through another 3 years of testing? Like, and so then if they come up with some great new technology, Monsanto will be like, you might as well sell that technology to us, because you don't have a prayer of getting that.
Yep.
Like, you're going to run out of money long before you can get it to market.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so, the regulation's a pain in the butt for those companies to an extent, but they've got the time, the money, and the lawyers and whatnot time is on their side. They're in it for the long game. But
they're like the Afghanis and the Iraqis. They're what they say in the war. They got all the watches, but we got all the time.
Yeah. That's what Vance, when he would go talk to these groups, a lot of times it's people hostile towards Monsanto. He's like, y'all have done them a great service by doing this. And, they didn't realize it, but he's right.
Yep.
Like, y'all, in trying to make things harder on them, you made it a little harder on them, but you made it impossible on their competitors.
Yep. There's always, man, these companies they have not maintained their power and size by accident. Like, they haven't increased their power and size by accident. Like, I mean, it's no telling how many lawyers one of these companies has on staff. So another interesting story. So I always talk about cocaine. I
was wondering earlier, you were talking about getting going or something. I was like, hey, here comes the cocaine reference.
Here we go now. This actually has kind of got my wheels turning on how I'm going to start doing some cocaine dealing.
How you gonna?
Yeah, I was talking about the bad grain prices, and I was like, hey,
there's a lot more margin than some of this other stuff.
It is, and Scarface, he made a lot of money before he got shot 950 times. So in Georgia, we visit Georgia. They are battling their drug trafficking in Georgia, and that it's actually linked to their agriculture industry. The Georgia Department of Ag, under their commissioner Tyler Harper, has ramped up efforts to combat the smuggling of dangerous drugs like fentanyl, meth, and marijuana through their agriculture channels. He's done reinstated law enforcement division in 2013 or 2023. The department is cracking down on an unusual tactic. I'm curious. All right, I'm going to give you some hints. Let's see if you can figure out how they're doing this.
And this is just the trafficking of drugs that are coming in.
Yeah. They're using this. Let me think here. How can I word this? So there was a recent bust at hold on. All right, I know how I ask you here. All right, they're smuggling in meth. If you were going to smuggle in meth through an agriculture channel, what crop or what would be your method?
So meth, I'm not even sure like what form is
Let's
meth.
just go with the powder.
So it's meth. So it's
like
just
the crystal powder.
Like
like
crystalline powder.
I've seen a few episodes of Breaking Bad. It was like hell, they call it crystal meth. I mean, it's like a crystal, I'm assuming.
So
can't speak from
so
experience.
it's basically a dry product, and they're just needing to transport it like long distances.
Yeah, and let's see, they're smuggling. Yes. Yeah, they're smuggling it in. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I would think there's all kinds of ag commodities you could, hide it, packed inside of something. I don't know. I would assume like grain trailer, grain doesn't get trucked that far, at least not around here before it's dumped somewhere. I don't know, maybe in cotton. I don't know.
Yeah. Celery.
Yep.
Celery. 1,100 kilograms, which that'd be what, over 2,000. 1,100, what, times 2.204? 20, what is that? 24.
Shoot. Golly. See, I do a lot more math going the other direction, converting pounds to kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little over a ton.
So
2,400.
2,400 pounds of meth was packed into celery at an Atlanta farmer's market, valued it. Now, here's another. How much do you think 2,400 pounds worth of meth is worth? I would not have known this one. This is pretty.
I would say it's got to be in the millions.
Yeah, this would make up for a bad year on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, $3 million.
Yeah, because I would imagine it doesn't take much meth to get a person high. And
yeah, I wouldn't think.
What are they? I don't know what's a dose or whatever of meth. It's $15-$20, to get you high. I mean, I don't know. I'm just sitting here thinking.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like a meth addict probably doesn't have just wads of cash.
Let me ask a chat.
But like if we just want to do some meth right now, like does $20 get you enough to get you high? I mean, I would assume it does.
I'm saying for educational purposes.
Which that's obviously that's probably wholesale prices.
Yeah, well, so that'd be even more.
So
yeah.
I wonder what these farmers were making just to transport it.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Just to be the mule,
Yeah. It does say in Pierce County, Georgia, $24 million worth of marijuana was seized. That is a ton of marijuana, because marijuana,
might be a literal ton of them.
Yeah, and I've seen the Walk Hard, and he said it's the cheapest drug there is. So,
but you gotta think the same thing like marijuana. I don't know what the street price is, but yeah, you don't need a pound of it.
No, what is it? Don't they use like a little baggie?
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen cops when they pull them over.
Yeah, like an ounce.
I'm asking AI, for educational purposes, how much does enough meth for 2 people to get high cost? 2 people to get high.
Sure. The market varies depending on a variety of factors.
I cannot provide information or guidance on harmful or illegal activities. If you or someone is struggling with substance abuse or addiction, here's number National Substance Abuse.
Well, that's good of AI to be looking out for us like that. Yeah, so because I have heard stories, nothing that I can confirm, but of guys that would, needing some money, and one person in particular was like using their horse trailer, like because they would like go down close to the border and just, I guess like a horse trailer or whatever wasn't considered as likely of somebody and was using that to, of course they were getting paid, I don't know, maybe $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just to make that run.
Well, here you go. I did get it. I figured out how to ask it. I said, this is not for bad reasons. It's for a study. And so it was like, for educational purposes, I can provide. Methamphetamine prices vary depending on location, quantity, quality, and source.
That's what I figured.
And so approximate prices, street level, which is 1 gram, is $50 to $200. It's a lot more than I was expecting.
But then I don't know how, is 1 gram a lot? I mean,
I don't know. I feel like a gram street level, it's probably got to be enough to get high. Eighth of an ounce.
I would think a gram, I mean, maybe enough to get like a whole party high. I don't know. I don't know.
A pound of meth. So that was 2,400 pounds of meth. 1 pound of meth. If you got the good shit here, it could go for $20,000
for a pound. Well, yeah, because I would think a pound of meth would be enough to last you a lifetime. Just as one person, using. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. AI, you just got to know how to talk to them. So if you have,
so they're smuggling in meth. And produce.
Yes, they're using produce shipments, contaminating the food supply in the process to conceal their illegal goods.
Well, that's a good point, because obviously the value of that celery is nothing. But you wonder if, once they, get to wherever they're taking it, and they unpack the celery and just get their meth out, do they then try
clean it off or something?
Well, right. Do they then just, say, all right, we made plenty of money doing that. We'll just dump the celery, in a gully somewhere. Or do they then try to actually move it?
It's crazy because like the Department of
that
Ag.
is scary. You think
You don't want to buy, your produce.
They're dipping that celery in their ranch as they're eating their wings. Which who the hell does that? Like
dips their eats the celery?
Well, like actually eats celery with their wings.
My daughter.
Well, see, there's a good point. And then your daughter's like
gonna eat some on meth. Maybe that explains why she's so hyper.
Like, why won't this kid go to sleep?
Yeah, well, they're hyper a lot after we've been to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, it's the meth on the celery.
See, they don't have to worry about me because celery tastes like a butthole. Like
that's what I'm thinking. Like get that shit off my plate.
Yeah, like even with enough ranch, I don't even like it. Like it's like at this point I'm basically using this as a spoon to eat ranch.
The only time I've ever know that I've eaten celery is I've made gumbo a couple times.
Yeah,
it's like you just got to have it in the gumbo for whatever reason, and of course it cooks down so much you
don't even notice it. Yeah,
you're just getting a little extra fiber.
And celery really serves no purpose. I think it's like 0 calories.
Yeah.
It's like doesn't even provide anything. Yeah, so be careful out there in Georgia, guys. You might get some meth contaminated celery at the grocery store, and if you're thinking of, we speak about diversity, diversification.
It's a good reason just to eat meat.
Yes, just eat meat. But if you're looking for diversification opportunities on your farm, potentially smuggling meth in through produce could be a good thing to consider. You got to
think outside the box.
That's right. That's right. So another one that was kind of interesting to me, got quite a bit of little interesting stories here. Jack Shoebarth. Or Arthur, his name is Jack, is what they call him. 81-year-old Montana rancher. Did you see about what he did?
No.
This man's like a Dr. Frankenstein of sheep, apparently.
Oh, yes. I didn't remember his name, but I did see that headline. Yep.
Yeah, Dr. Shoebarth is what I'll call him. Shoebarthenstein.
That's a big damn deal because go ahead.
Yeah, he attempted to create a hybrid sheep species using genetic material from endangered Marco Polo Argali sheep. His illegal operation, which lasted nearly a decade, aimed to breed larger-than-life sheep hybrids for sale to captive hunting facilities. While he was not charged for the cloning process itself, his actions violated wildlife trafficking laws. His bold endeavor resulted in the creation of a hybrid species, and the sale of one of his sheep's offspring fetched $10,000. But his plan endangered Montana's native wildlife species, leading to his conviction under the Lacey Act. He has now been sentenced to 6 months in prison along with hefty fines.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. It's like invasive species are a big deal, or in that case, it's a total hybrid species that you're then releasing into the wild that, especially because it's a hybrid, if it really is genetically superior as he thinks he's creating, it'll outcompete all the native species, and all of a sudden, you just this whole thing with the wild hogs around here, and
it's pretty wild though. Like he cloned endangered sheep embryos and then bred them with female sheep on his ranch, resulting in the birth of a single male Marco Polo Argali named Montana Mountain King. So it's pretty wild. I wonder how do you clone that? Like I've heard of cloning, and actually years ago I remember they cloned a goat or something. I remember hearing about, but
cloning's
I haven't heard a lot about it.
Now.
Like how does that work?
I am not smart enough to know, but even at UT, like they were doing like with cattle and stuff,
cloning them.
Yeah, it's and you see some of these outfits now, like I think. Like if you wanted your pet cloned, like I don't know, I know it's of course outrageously expensive, but I think there is a process now
to clone your pet.
Like I don't know, like if you had endless money and you're like, I love this dog so much, I want a genetically identical one to him. Could you just go ahead and do it? I want to say I think that is possible now, but
so how does
I should be more knowledgeable on this as a veterinarian, but
I'm intrigued. So like does that mean like Bear, my dog Bear, he's 11, like I know that he's nearing the end of the line, so could I like take him and be like, I want him cloned, but so is he going to be like born, like what is it, do they put it into like a female dog and she births a puppy, but it's going to be like Bear when he, how does that work?
Man, I'm not, it would be genetically identical to him. And so,
but it still would have a different personality, correct?
Right. Well, because personality is, the whole nurture versus nature. Now, if you get him and raise him just the same as you did Bear, like, he would be, but he's still going to be his own individual.
Yeah.
And of course, we're getting into all kinds of philosophical and ethical things.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I remember when the goat thing came up, that was like the first clone thing I remember. And it was extremely attacked for ethical reasons.
Yeah, I think the very first animal maybe that was ever successful wasn't it Dolly the sheep?
Yeah, that's what it was. Not a goat. Yeah, it was a sheep.
But they were doing it with cattle. I'm pretty sure with UT. And
Joe Biden, I think, has been cloned a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the most popular president ever, why wouldn't you? I mean, you're doing the world a favor by.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, it's that was kind of the whole thing with like Jurassic Park, where. Which one is it where because his daughter dies and then he's kind
of the later ones,
acting like, it's when it really kind of gone off the rails. It's his granddaughter, but no, it was really his daughter.
Was that World Dominion? Is that the last one?
I can't remember. No, I don't think it was the last one. Because the last one I went and saw at the theater.
I thought it was that one.
The one where they're illegally auctioning off all the animals, like.
Yeah, I thought it was. Maybe it's not that one. But I think Chris Pratt is in it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But he's in a couple of them, isn't
he? He is. He's in like the last two.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah. I took my kids to see that one in theaters. But and you know what they say in Jurassic Park? It's like all this time while we were doing like we could do this, we never stopped to ask if we should do this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about this clone thing. Like I'm still kind of like, And honestly, I feel like the direction we're going in is funny. Movies, to me, certain films end up almost becoming reality. And honestly, Jurassic Park is one of them that I could see becoming a reality. Like I can see us, the further science advances and this cloning stuff gets and all that, some gooberhead is going to like extract some DNA out of some Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil. And he's going to birth a T-Rex in the office. Like I can just, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of crazy to me that this dude, it was successful. Like, that's what's the wildest part to me. I mean, the dude did it. So yeah, he cloned an endangered sheep. And the other side of me is like, well, I mean, what if you can do it and make it work, then I guess you would eliminate their you could remove them from being endangered, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know if it would have been as big of a deal if like these animals were entirely like contained within a high fence environment. But,
they had just happened to crack or something.
Which I don't know like exactly what these sheep were, but if it's like bighorn sheep, I wouldn't think you could even have them it's not like hunting a high fence whitetail in Texas or Tennessee or somewhere where the property's completely secure. Like these things like live at like high altitudes in the mountains. Well,
he got in trouble, it says here, especially because this breed of sheep is banned in the state of Montana because they're to protect native sheep from diseases and the genetic integrity.
Yeah, you definitely don't want them out in the wild where they're going to be possibly breeding with native sheep or just competing with them.
He got fined $24,000 total, and he'll spend 6 months in prison. That doesn't even sound hardly harsh enough. I know. To me, I'm like, that doesn't sound bad. He had 2 sheep die, one from John's disease, another from chronic wasting disease. Johne's. Okay. Yeah.
See, that's the one that's kind of similar to like chronic wasting.
Okay.
And BSE.
Oh, that's what it says. From Johne's disease, a chronic wasting disease.
I'm sorry. I completely misspoke there. Johne's is different. Completely misspoke. We'll edit that out. Not really. I'm getting my prion diseases mixed up with other infectious diseases. So.
Wow.
Scrapie is the one in sheep that's similar to
scabies.
No, that's just mange, but yeah, you got chronic wasting disease and like wild cervids. You got scrapie, which is in, sheep, BSE or mad cow, which is in cattle, and then Crutchfield Jakob or whatever is the one that in people that's similar. Where kind of people freak out about potentially eating a deer or a cow.
Gotcha.
Even though I don't think there's ever been a documented case where a person has caught it. But anyway,
I don't want to be the first one.
No, you're right.
A cool little story I thought to end on here. So this is actually out of old California, Los Alamos. A former Air Force major is turning wine into a powerful tool for healing. Gets drunk every night, forgets about everything.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story.
Wakes up with a little bit of a headache. But yeah.
No. This man, Jason Mergenov, he was stationed in Baghdad, Iraq, faced his own battle with PTSD after years of suppressing his trauma. Now, through his winery, Rockets Red Wine, he's advocating for veterans dealing with the invisible wounds of war. So, after military career, like I said, time overseas, he has basically started this deal where he discovered the home-based program, a life-saving initiative providing intensive therapy for veterans. He realized the importance of speaking out about PTSD. He began sharing his journey, finding that not just veterans, but civilians too were struggling with similar mental health battles. His message is clear: trauma is trauma no matter its source. So today, his wine, Rockets Red Wine, blends his passion for winemaking with his military roots. His labels honor the Space Shuttle program in one special bottle, Rockets Red Resilience Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
I was gonna say, I'm not. Did I send you the thing of Stone Cold and Undertaker drinking wine?
You did.
That's about how I am.
Pinot Noir. I don't even know.
Donates a portion of sales to the home-based program, helping other veterans find the same support that changed his life. I thought this was pretty interesting because I wanted to, highlight some of the things. While making wine in 2020, the sound of popping bottles triggered a flashback, reigniting his PTSD.
Okay.
So he sought treatment at Vandenberg, Virginia clinic or VA clinic, and attended the home-based program, a nonprofit offering it. So the big thing is this home-based program, which I haven't looked into, but it's obviously big for veterans with PTSD. So I thought it was neat, and this wine thing, like, it's just neat. Dude, got a veteran here that's started making the wine. I'm not a big wine guy, but this Rockets Red Wine, I want to say Rockets Red Wine. Like the R's just want to keep rolling off. But it's I thought this was neat. I'm gonna check this out and see if I ever come across any Rockets Red Wine, then let us know what you think. If you've had it before, I'm curious to hear, because I just think it's cool. The dude basically got his own wine thing going. It's a little different sector of agriculture. I mean, he's creating some drink. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Oh no, that's definitely ag, and hey, trying to help out, folks that, obviously are dealing with some issues that are kind of hard for a lot of people to understand.
Well, and that was what I was going to get at. It's funny because I've been fortunate. I've had multiple veterans work with me on the farm, and it's funny, man. They talk about how it's something about it. It's like it helps them. Like it's almost like there's a degree of being on the farm that's a little therapeutic, and I mean, it's,
it's a lot of reason I do it. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, most years I'm making a little money, but hell, I make my money, my other 4 days a week.
Yeah. Hell, for me lately, it's been more given me PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. No, and some days I wonder, I'm like, damn it, I'm doing this, as a stress reliever. And here I am, I'm running myself ragged, tearing shit up and doing a whole lot of work. Like, yeah, I mean, I often think about, I could just sell everything, buy a house in town, probably buy a hell of a nice house in town, and buy me a nice set of golf clubs or a bass boat, and just spend all my free time, on the fishing lake or on the golf course. And, which golfing would piss me off.
Yeah, golfing is very...
Fishing probably would too.
Golfing does not relieve my stress for sure.
Just drink a lot of beer while you're out there.
Yeah. I gotta play for our listeners. You gotta hear, since we talked a little bit about wine, you gotta hear Stone Cold for our... We might have some audience that's so young that they're not even really familiar with Stone Cold and Undertaker.
So Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was
the Texas Rattlesnake.
Probably 20 years ago. Man, longer than that.
Gosh, yeah, it's been about 20 years ago.
He was the biggest deal in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
and Undertaker.
The Undertaker, I think, he may not wrestle anymore, but you should know who both of them are. They're both bad in the bone.
My dad has met the Undertaker.
I remember he's on a flight with them.
Flew on an airplane with him. Says nicest guy.
Yeah, I remember going to Vegas, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were either going or coming from Vegas. But it was because WWE or whatever had been in Vegas or was going to Vegas, and yeah, they were on the same flight with him.
Did you ever see Stone Cold when he was the ringmaster?
No, I don't guess so.
He had hair down to his back.
Really?
Yes, he had long blonde hair. It's kind of crazy. I am a huge fan of Stone Cold. When I was a kid, I had a life-size poster of Stone Cold in my little clubhouse in our backyard.
I was a big fan. Like he was the good guy.
But he was the anti-hero good guy. You know, he would flip the bird and.
Oh yeah. You know, well, wrestling was pretty edgy. Like my mother did not like the fact that I liked wrestling.
Mine either. And that was the glory days. I've got the Attitude Era is what they called that.
Yeah.
And I've got DVDs of it.
I had the Stone Cold University shirt.
Yeah. I still, Marcy hates my Austin 316 shirt.
So I've got an Austin, because they had the Austin 316 and then they had Whoop Ass 101.
Yep.
Like, well, I definitely couldn't get the Whoop Ass 101.
The other one, it said it was Fock Fear. It had the skull in the center.
Yeah, instead of the U,
and I was like, that one looks cool, but that one wouldn't have flown in my household.
Yeah.
But the Austin 316, like, I love it because it says that, and then it's got like the skull with the blue like fire coming out of his eyes, and yeah, Marcy hates it because she's like, that's like blasphemous.
Well, I think a lot of people still see, because you still see people doing it, where you do the Stone Cold, shotgun in the beers, because after he would win a match, he would get ready, they'd toss him 2 Coors Lights,
slam them together,
and of course he'd end up actually consuming like a quarter of a beer.
He'd go, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. So, in honor of y'all
got to YouTube some old wrestling videos if you don't know who we're talking about.
You do that. It was the great.
I have a feeling most of our audience knows who Stone Cold is.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of, even up into the we actually got some guys on past into the 50s. I know they know who he is.
But that video was Stone Cold and the Undertaker wine tasting.
Like,
what are these? Like,
yeah. So y'all listen to this. Y'all enjoy this. This is in honor of Red Rocket Wines.
What's that mean?
Yeah, look at the legs, the way it runs down the glass. Somehow about how the way it's supposed to affect the taste buds. I'm like, who gives a flying F about the legs? I just want to know what it tastes like when I taste it. Okay, we got to do the smell test to it. You guys got to. Smells good. Got a good aroma to it.
Yeah, it's got a nice bouquet.
That is indeed a tasty beverage. Just watch it.
It's got a nice bouquet. Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys are very wealthy. Like you think, well, in a lot of ways. I do always think how funny it is. Like, somebody gets really wealthy, but as being like more of a rough blue collar guy, and then it's like, how do they stay authentic? Do they still, it's kind of situation where you can take the redneck out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the redneck, or like, how do they? Because they almost, especially when they were still performing, like, they almost had to still live that lifestyle to be authentic and not come off as fake. But
that's and Stone Cold always, he always was wearing like the camouflage hat and cut off denim jeans, shorts, and
it's kind of dude where, like, if you didn't know who he was, you'd be like, yeah, this is a
redneck dude,
blue collar guy, works a regular, shift, whatever.
Quality tire.
Just bust his ass all day, and no, he's a multimillionaire.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's cool, man. We have a local guy around here that actually went on Broken Skull Ranch, the show he used to, and he won on there, and he got to meet him, and he said he was a cool guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know the dude, but I got buddies that's friends with him. But it was Joe Pass is the guy that he won on Broken Skull, and his like time held for a while. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So do you got a you want to cue him up? You got one? I don't think I did.
Our man, I got a company we can do.
I would say Red Rocket Wine, but I got to try it first. You know, we don't like to.
Right.
We don't like to put our stamp on it until we've tried
You
it.
can't do that. We got to be authentic.
That's
like
right.
Stone Cold.
That's right.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
Okay, so this is a product.
Product of Mexico.
Yeah, made in Mexico. No, our other 2 favorite words. No,
Yeah.
well, it's not made in China.
Yeah, that's true.
No, Tom Taylor, belts specifically.
Yeah.
Actually, my father-in-law had one of his belts, and when he passed away, I ended up with it. Basically, I make a lot of leather goods. And,
Okay.
And of course, some of this stuff is really exotic leathers. The one I've got is just a basic leather belt, but
Yeah. Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor, just like it sounds. But I was looking at it one day, I was like, made in USA, which I know this is probably like the 8th belt company we've highlighted. A lot of good made in USA leather goods, but yeah, Tom Taylor, they make bags. Holiday season's coming up. You got somebody you need to really spend a little extra money on. I really, just because I'm just now going to the website, like these bags might be something nice to get for your wife.
Oh, they do have some pretty exotic belts.
Oh yeah, like alligator and
there's a giraffe.
rattlesnake.
It shows a guy slitting a giraffe's throat.
Field Ethos would approve. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, a dude just walked out there with a machete, one quick swing, and it just goes right through. Man.
Yeah, I don't know Tom, but I would imagine, like, I'm looking at these
There's
bags,
you a satchel.
like handbags for wives.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know,
yeah.
my wife have one of these. I don't know, he might be liberal as hell, but it's got to be better than like buying her a Louis Vuitton or I don't know what's the.
Here's you a bag, a satchel for $1,000.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna buy that. A lot of the belts though are more affordable than that, but
Yeah. Artist is Billy Sunday.
I don't know, what are the purses that all the women like to carry that are like super high end or something?
Is it not like Louis Vuitton?
I would assume like Louis Vuitton or like Chanel or whatever, spelled like channel.
I think Titty Jane is the one that everybody likes.
Titty Jane?
Yeah, Titty Jane.
I'm not going to Google that. Sounds dangerous. But
You should.
trying to think.
The big bag is called Big Titty Jane. You need to Google that one and look it up.
The double D.
Double D, yeah, double D. It's like a big one.
If you're being for real and they don't have one,
That's a very good idea. Somebody needs to do that.
That's very poor marketing on their part.
We have. Oh, wait a minute! I gotta read this. I gotta read a great email we got. I apologize to this listener, but that this spurred this in my mind. But this was one of the best. We have. I was actually gonna say we've got quite a few women that listen. One of them, you need to start this company because it sounds like it would be successful. But man, we got an awesome email. I've got to read this on air real quick. Where is that email? Let me find this. So our audience is largely men, but like I said, we've got some awesome women that listen. And let me find where this email is, because I read it and I was like, that is pretty darn cool. Oh, come on. Where was that email at? I meant to send it to you. I got to find this.
I'm sure she's a YouTube viewer for us, and just our good looks are really what
I think so.
In.
I think that's what drew her in. Man, when did she send me this? Because I even I had to tell my wife. I was like, well, this is cool. This is really cool.
And while Logan
is.
is okay, you found it. No, go ahead then. No, I don't want to hold anybody up any longer.
All right, this is from Sarah. And I was like, this is pretty cool. This is definitely a first. Hi guys, I love y'all's podcast since finding it last year and always recommending it to people. I don't know if you've gotten this one before. Sarah, I can tell you right now, we have not gotten this one before, but this is cool. She says, I'm a new mom with a cute but often fussy 4-week-old, and wouldn't you know it, I found out this week that y'all's podcast calms him often better than lullabies and my probably terrible singing. Just had to share. Thank you for doing this podcast. Appreciative sleep-deprived mom. I was like, that is the coolest email.
That is pretty awesome. We'll have to watch our language.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to be baby friendly. Man, that is really cool to me. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, I meant to send you that.
It's our soothing Southern drawl.
It must be. It must be. But yeah, when I read that, I said that is a first, but that is really cool. So
I thought it was for sure our good looks.
Yeah, I know, but instead it's our voices.
Yeah,
we got a soothing voice.
Right, like one of us might be the next Sam Elliott.
Maybe we'll do a Kamala Harris ad.
No, I was about to say we won't endorse Kamala, but
man, yeah, Sarah, thank you for that email. That is really cool. Yeah, I read that and I was like, man, it made my day. That's cool.
That is, yeah. Hey, we'll take the listens and the views and the downloads for whatever reason.
Whether you're 4 weeks old or you're 40 years old, we'll gladly take the views and listens.
Maybe we need to reach out to like some baby food companies for sponsorship opportunities.
Yes. Not Gerber. I don't think they're like, aren't they frowned upon or something?
I have no idea.
They're like in bed with the chemicals or something. I don't know. Who knows? Everything's bad these days.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, while you're being soothed by our voices, you need to go to agzaga.com, get your stuff there, get you some goods, some hoses, some hose, whatever you need. Get them on agzaga.com.
Yep, the Belknap wrap, the Therapies, the ear tags, Flexzilla hoses. We're not going to list everything. We can't. We don't have enough time. But yeah, most important thing, use that discount code TalkDirt, all caps, all one word, get your 10% off.
Yep. Guys, go to talkdirtpodcast.com, go to the contact page, send us a message. We will read it on air. We'll answer your questions, whatever you have. If you have messaged me on Facebook or any of that for the show, there's a good chance that I have not seen it because I'm terrible at checking those. So, if you got a question, please write it at talkdirtpodcast.com. It goes straight to our email. I can find it very easily. So,
which of course we teased you earlier, next week we're going to try to be talking to somebody a little closer to the situation.
Yep.
For the folks in the mountains east of us. One thing, I've tried to do like through my YouTube, kind of announced we're doing some fundraising kind of things. We've still got the Talk Dirt to Me, shirts that you can get through hurricanecreek.farm. And I had announced on my YouTube, and I know some of you watch the YouTube too. Now through the 22nd, which was a full 2 weeks when I first announced it, any proceeds from anything bought on the store, we're going to include in a donation. We're going to send east for hurricane relief. So yeah, still some Talk Dirt to Me shirts, not a lot. I think we may be out of some sizes.
Yeah,
but that applies to the hats and the Hurricane Creek stuff too. I'll admit I don't make a lot of money on any of it, but the money that we do make, we're gonna send in the form of donation. Not sure exactly where we're gonna send it, but you're probably gonna hear more about that next week.
There you go. All right, guys. Catch you next week.
Yep.